This is African American History is American History. Welcome. I'm your host, Harlan Kearsley. This program's goal is to foster understanding, promote discussion, and expand knowledge through stories of historical events, bios of unsung heroes, as well as timely and relevant news stories which hopefully will paint a vivid picture of the effects of segregation, discrimination, and bigotry on the lives of both blacks and whites. Comparisons will be made between the many racially fractured periods of American history and what's going on right now.
Moses Ephraim Thompson was born October 28, 1859, in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Like many boys at the time, F, as he was called by friends and family, dreamed of running away and joining the circus. Moses Ephraim Thompson was one of the first black circus performers in America, and he went on to become the first great American elephant trainer. The turn of the 20th century was, in America, the heyday of the circus. Circus Day, that one day of the year when the circus would roll into a rural town, usually by train, to perform, became nothing less than a local holiday that brought together ethnicities, races, and classes of both genders that on any other day would never assemble at the same place and the same time. Yet, somehow, the lure and spectacle of the circus broke down the boundaries of 19th and 20th century racism and segregation, if only for a day. At the time, it was very rare that blacks were hired to work, much less perform, in circuses here in America. If African Americans were hired, they were relegated to certain menial jobs. They worked in segregated groups and were paid much less than their white counterparts. The show's travel schedule often took them deep into areas of the segregated South, where they would be subjected to the racial volatility of that era. Although the white circus employees of the 19th and early 20th century often looked back on their circus days with thoughts of fun travel and exciting adventures, African American circus folk, who endured harsh treatment, low pay, and brutal racism, didn't quite see it that way. At that time in Europe, Chocolat the Clown was the first black artist to perform in France in the late 19th century. Chocolat was the stage name of Rafael Padilla. He was of Afro-Cuban descent and was one of the earliest successful black entertainers in modern France. He was the first black clown to play a lead role in a circus pantomime act, and with his longtime partner, George Foutit, they revolutionized the art of clowning simply by pairing a white clown with a black clown.
This is African American History is American History.
Ephraim Thompson was trained by Stuart Craven, who was inducted into the Circus Hall of Fame in 1979. In order to gain better visibility and less racial restrictions, Thompson eventually went to Europe with his act. In 1887, Ephraim Thompson and his elephants were brought to Europe by Carl Hagenbeck for his very first circus in Hamburg, Germany. Thompson performed with Carl Hagenbeck's International Circus from April to September of that year. In 1895, he was with Circus Salomonsky in Moscow, performing a tightrope trick between two elephants that were holding the rope. In 1902, he performed at the Blackpool Tower Circus in England. Thompson was a tall and muscular performer and was very much in demand internationally during the 1880s and 1890s. Upon his return to America, he became part of the Adam Forepaugh Show. Forepaugh, a rival to P.T. Barnum, owned and operated a circus from 1865 through 1890 under various names, including Forepaugh's Circus, the Great Forepaugh Show, the Adam Forepaugh Circus, and Forepaugh and the Wild West. But since Ephraim Thompson was black, he was forced to remain in the background while Adam Forepaugh Jr. presented the acts. In 1999, at the age of 22, Johnson Lee Iverson became the first African-American ringmaster of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. In 1994, concert promoter Cedric Walker founded the Universe Soul Circus, which is the only African-American owned circus in the world. Moses Ephraim Thompson died on April 17, 1909 in Egypt. I'm sure that F would have been happy to know that today, blacks are involved in every aspect of the circus world, and his contribution to it helped make that happen. This has been African American History is American History. The episode you've been listening to, the Moses Ephraim Thompson story, was written and directed by Harlan Kearsley.
I'm Harlan Kearsley. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Once you do, you'll be notified as soon as new episodes are posted. Thanks again.
African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2019.